Doug, Mona, Angela, Jimmy, and Jim are on WCMH Television, Columbus, Ohio. Newswatch 4 with Colleen Marshall and Jim Schroeder is next.
Are we in danger of losing the title World's Largest Fair? Attendance at the Ohio State Fair is down 17% for the first 3 days. As of yesterday, about 319,000 people had walked through the gates, compared to 384,000 for the same 3 days last year. Good evening. Texas may be able to claim the title of world's largest fair unless attendance here picks up. Muggy weather and intermittent rains are blamed for keeping some people away. When you do go to the fair, one thing you won't be able to do is have your picture taken with a live tiger cub. That was one of the attractions last year, but the policy has changed, and the owner of 3 tiger cubs is in hot water with fair officials, Zoo Director Jack Hanna, and now the Humane Society. Hanna took 3 cubs from the back of an enclosed truck yesterday. He says it was more than 100 degrees inside, and the Humane Society told us late today the owner of the cubs will be charged with cruelty to animals. But Leanne Carlson caught up with the owner today, and he says that's just not the case.
Animals had no food, no water, none of this other crap, and obviously nobody looked drunk.
We found Bob Klein working at the fair today behind this wood carving stand. He insists his tiger cubs had been fed and well cared for before police pulled them from the back of a van. He also claims a fan had been running to keep the animals cool. Klein travels around the country showing his wild cats at fairs and circuses.
I make my living with them. I mean, the only reason they're there is because we got a screw up at the Ohio State Fair to start with.
The so-called screw-up involved a policy change this year at the fair. Last year, fair officials allowed Klein to set up a stand on the grounds where kids could have their picture taken with lion cubs. But this year, the policy changed.
If you remember earlier this year, we had a situation in Mansfield where a child was mauled by a bear. So we took a look at the situation, reevaluated it, and decided that we really didn't want to take the risk of something like that happening at the fair this year. It wasn't a risk worth taking with fairgoers.
On top of that policy change, Jenkins claims Klein also missed his contract deadline with the fair. Klein says he thought the contract had been approved. Klein says he is licensed through the U.S. Department of Agriculture to own and show wild cats. But many, including Jack Hanna, argue that a fair is no place for wild animals.
No one loves a fair more than me. No one loves a circus more than I do. But when you involve human beings with wild animals, somebody's going to get hurt.
The tiger cubs will stay at the zoo for at least one more night. Hanna says they appear to be healthy and says the zoo's main concern is that they end up with a proper home. The Cubs' owner claims the proper home is with him. Leanne Carlson, Newswatch 4, Columbus.
A group of students left Fort Columbus today, headed for high adventure in the African jungle. The students are off on a safari to Kenya, sponsored by the Columbus Zoo. 14 youngsters, accompanied by a number of adults, including the family of Zoo Director Jack Hanna, will spend 2 weeks in Kenya. As they boarded the plane, they told us what they're looking forward to.
I hope a lot of animals. I'm not really quite sure, but I'm really excited about the trip.
Hopefully a couple of leopards, black rhinos, and some other big game. And we tend to shoot it with a camera, not a gun.
A lot of new people and different things, and I just hope to learn a lot while I'm down there.
The students, who are from all around Ohio and as far away as Massachusetts, got a big send-off at the airport, including a special cake to mark the occasion. A tragic search underway in India where a ferry capsized in a monsoon-swollen river and as many as 400 people drowned. Navy divers from New Delhi are trying to recover bodies. Most of the passengers were Hindu pilgrims crossing the sacred Ganges River to visit religious shrines. Homicide detectives here are searching for the killer of a man whose body was found near downtown early this morning. The unidentified man was found stabbed to death sitting in a car parked behind the North Market on West Spruce Street. The victim is described as a white male in his early 30s. Detectives say they don't have any leads in that killing. The latest polls show Michael Dukakis leading George Bush in all regions of the country except the Deep South. Overall, Dukakis leads by 17 percentage points. This despite persistent rumors that Michael Dukakis sought psychiatric counseling after the accidental death of his brother in 1973. Ohio Congressman John Kasich says the controversy involving the counseling issue is archaic and shows the country is in the dark ages on mental health. Kasich lost both his parents in an accident last year caused by a drunk driver. He says without the support of friends and family, he might have sought professional help himself. When we come back, we're going to show you a roundup of sheep and ducks by an amazing four-legged herder. Also more from the Ohio State Fair. Stay with us.
This is Newswatch 4. Today's news with Colleen Marshall and Jim Schroeder. Sports with Douglas Hells. And exclusive weather forecasts with Ben Gelber. Newswatch 4 continues after these messages.
Nearly 3,300 of the 8,700 applicants for drought insurance by the Chubb group of insurance companies have accepted the company's offer to return double the premiums paid. Chubb made the offer to farmers in Ohio and 9 other Midwestern states after agents sold $400 million in drought insurance. The underwriter had authorized only $30 million worth of coverage. At the Ohio State Fair today, one of the most popular livestock exhibits was not livestock at all. It was a demonstration on how man's best friend can also help be farmer's best helper. Our Leon Ransom has that report.
Carl Bradford raises and trains some of the most efficient livestock workers going, Border Collies. He says the Border Collie is easily the best breed for this work because it's in their blood.
I don't mean to belittle man's training any, but the desire to work and do this has got to be bred in him. That's got to be in his heart. Or you never in the world would get him to do it.
Today, Bradford demonstrated the dog's herding abilities with sheep and geese. But he says they're gaining popularity with cattle and horse breeders, too, because of their skills. He controls their movements, not only with whistles, but with voice commands.
Away to me.
And they respond as a coordinated team, each with his own role.
The white dog works on the my left-hand side. He knows that he's watching, and if he ever lets a duck go around there, he knows he's made an error. Like if there's baseball, he's made a big error. The little dog that comes up the middle, she's full of fun. Put it together a little like a coach does a football team, and I know the strong points of these dogs and where to have them.
The Ashland, Ohio breeder says his dogs have gotten a lot of national recognition, including an appearance at Madison Square Garden.
It was at the Westminster Kennel Club show, and that's the top dog show of the nation, you know. And they had seen me working with dogs in Pennsylvania. I suppose I had people tell me that greater than that was a write-up where my dogs were in the National Geographic magazine.
And his dogs have also starred in a Wonderful World of Disney movie as well. But he says his biggest achievement has been boosting the Border Collie to star status in the farm world. Leon Ransom, Newswatch 4 at the Ohio State Fair.
And Bradford says those voice commands may not make much sense to us, but they're familiar to the Border Collies because they're traditional commands used for centuries in Britain where that breed originated. The name Border Collie refers to the region of Britain near the Scottish border where the dogs first came from. Hank Peters' Lumberjack Show draws thousands of spectators to the fairgrounds each year. Lumberjacking has been going on for hundreds of years, but it's never looked quite like this.
Anybody give us the instrument clear there? The blue team.
There goes. We're going to lose everywhere.
This is Peter's 9th year at the State Fair. He's been chopping wood for more than 60 years and is still winning competitions at the age of 73. And across the fairgrounds, music coming from the Fine Arts Building where the sweet sounds strummed from dulcimers entertain fairgoers. It was a great day to spend time at the State Fair, but will the humidity be making a comeback? Ben Gelber will tell us that next.
you clinging to plastic wrap when reheating in the...
All of you out there, this is a crack rap, so you better beware of the drug that looks like a little white dust. Stay away from this. You must. It'll mess up your mind and make you see tough. Cause you to get into all kinds of stuff. If you try crack, you're gonna pay a price. Before you do, you gotta think twice. Well, I had a friend, and he used crack. He's in jail, and he ain't coming back. It's a shakedown. It's a crackdown. On crack!
Little Nikki Canzaneri missed the annual Leukemia Society telethon today. Nikki's the child host of the telethon, but she just didn't feel up to visiting the Channel 28 studios this afternoon. She's at home recuperating from her latest setback. Mona Scott and Tom Campbell were the co-hosts of the 6 Hours for Life.
Wow! Is that what I think it is?
Yeah, I have to stand back and read this. It's
1,621,640. I
That's
did
right.
that. Usually I have trouble with numbers.
It's better when one person reads it too, but $1,621,640.
Now, last year, the telethon raised $30,000 locally. No word yet on this year's local final total. The telethon did end, though, at 6 o'clock. And we said earlier, a nice day to go to the fair today. The humidity was down a little bit.
It made it a lot more pleasant. Today was a typical fair day. It was warm, but not too humid, so it was a little more comfortable. You didn't have to duck in for lemonade every 5 minutes instead of maybe
every 10 minutes.
10 or 15, that's right. But the humidity is coming back as well it should. These are the dog days of August. 88 degrees, humidity 44%. It's certainly warm outside, but the humidity is down about 20% over this time yesterday. You can see the wind direction. Instead of a southwest wind, we had a northwest wind. That allowed drier air to filter down from Canada. The barometer is falling slowly, 30.02, 89 today. That was our high. This morning was quite comfortable, 62 at the airport, 60 in northwest Columbus. Another benefit of lower humidity. Let's check our current count of 90 and 100-degree days this summer. We've had quite a few. The record is 48 for 90 and above, 1955. We've had 32 if our high today stays at 89 degrees. 100-degree days, the record 9 in one summer, 1936. Also 8 in 1934, so we're in third place with 6 so far this summer. But now we're in August with higher humidity generally, so we're not likely to hit 100 degrees again. Now, radar is showing last night heavy thunderstorms along a cold front that came through during the evening hours yesterday and took away our cloud cover. Strong thunderstorms extending all the way back through the southern and western part of the country. But look what has changed during the past 18 hours or so. The cold front has moved on to the east. Much less thunderstorm development across the south. That's an indication that dry air is pushing into the south and to the east and pushing the humid air out of the way. Temporarily, of course, we will be getting a southwest flow of more humid air beginning tomorrow. Notice the spiral rain pattern off the Louisiana coast. That is too close to the coast to really form a tropical depression or storm as yet. It's been hovering along the coastline, though, for several days, and New Orleans has had over 2 inches of rain the past 24 hours, and that storm is being watched. Also strong storms developing along the next cold front over Minnesota and South Dakota. That one should get here on Wednesday. Our next chance for thunder showers late Tuesday and Wednesday. Thief River Falls, Minnesota had about 1.5 inches of rain today. Satellite picture shows the clearing we had late yesterday afternoon following the passage of the cold front. And you can see the next front beginning to line up with its clouds and showers and thunderstorms extending from the Dakotas back into Minnesota. But we have another sunny day. It's fairly clear and quite hot to the west. Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and Sioux City, Iowa both hit 100 degrees today. Waco, Texas was 107. There goes the front, and you can see the storm circulation along the Louisiana coast, and then the next front coming in through the northern plains. Now, we also want to point out one other interesting feature, and that is this patch of cloud cover off the New England coastline. This became our first tropical storm in the Atlantic, Alberto, and you can see it tracking off to the northeast, but is now approaching Nova Scotia and has no real threat except to maritime interests. There'll be a lot of heavy rain in Nova Scotia, Canada, but that's the first tropical storm we've seen form in the Atlantic. Once again, this system, the circulation center is over land, so no intensification is expected over the next 24 hours unless it drifts back over the water, but this certainly has the makings of a potential tropical depression or perhaps a tropical storm. High pressure came in today following the passage of yesterday's cold front. Northwest winds bringing in the dry air, but as I said, it's only going to last one day. There's lots of heat and humidity off to the south and west. That will come pouring in tomorrow once that high moves east. And the next front coming in on Wednesday should bring in genuine cooling and drying later in the week. There is Alberto. Lots of strong storms coming off the coast of Africa and one wave entering the eastern Caribbean. So any of these storms have potential. Out in the Pacific, everything is dying down. Fabio weakened as it approached Hawaii on Friday. It's gone now. Hector and Iva have 75-mile-an-hour winds. Iva, the one closest to the Mexican coast, but those two are heading toward cooler waters in the Pacific and will probably fall apart before reaching Hawaii. Tomorrow's weather map, the cold front won't quite get here. Thunder showers may slip into northwest Ohio by tomorrow night, but certainly on Tuesday and Wednesday, a chance for thunder showers here. And a quick check of high temperatures tomorrow in the 90s, southwest winds blowing in the hot air, but notice the cooler air behind the next front, and we should see temperatures only in the low 80s later in the week. We had 62 this morning, Toledo 59. Here's your forecast now for the rest of tonight. As you look at live from the Ohio State Fair, flags rippling in the breeze, clear skies, comfortable again, 64, probably won't need the air conditioner, record low 52, and that was set over 100 years ago and is still standing. Now for tomorrow, nice day generally speaking, but it's start to feel sticky again in the afternoon, and the temperature is going to creep up a couple of degrees to 92, and that should be our 33rd day of 90-degree heat this summer. Just keep adding on the count. Tuesday, a chance for an afternoon or evening thunderstorm, and that threat will continue through Wednesday, but the next front should be more genuine relief because by Thursday and Friday, probably only be in the low 80s with comfortable humidity again. So the latter part of the week will be pretty nice.
Kind of just go on a seesaw, don't we?
True, but that's better than July where we have just 2 weeks of heat and humidity, so at least we're getting more changes in our pattern.
Okay, thanks, Ben. Well, some high-speed two-wheelers at Mid-Ohio today. Douglas Ells will have that and a preview of the U.S. Olympic basketball team when he joins us next. Would you like to visit the place where President Kennedy celebrated his last birthday, or where President Nixon and Soviet leader Leonid Brezhnev held summit talks? Whether you're a history buff or not, now's your chance. The presidential yacht Sequoia visits Ohio this week. Here we're going to see Washington reporter Ken Vest getting a tour earlier this year. Tomorrow and Tuesday, the Sequoia will be in Toledo, Wednesday in Fort Clinton, Thursday in Lorain, and Friday and Saturday in Cleveland. If you're interested, you can call each city's Chamber of Commerce for information or 1-800-BUCKEYE. The Sequoia was put into service 57 years ago by President Herbert Hoover. It was sold 11 years ago by President Carter, but is now being brought back into presidential use. And Doug was just telling me a few moments ago that Bobby Rahal could conceivably win the championship, but not win a race. How can that be?
Well, it's like the old tortoise and the hare story. Everybody keeps telling Bobby that he's got a dog of an engine, and Bobby says, wait, it's a very long season. And so far, Mr. Rahal has proven pretty smart. You know, Bobby Rahal's new Honda Judd engine has taken a whole lot of criticism this year. The experts say it doesn't have the horsepower of the Chevy engines that have won all 9 races on the IndyCar circuit this year. But you know what? That Judd engine has been reliable. Even though Bobby hasn't won a race yet, he's finished second 3 times. And more importantly, he's finished all 9 races. And while the Chevy-powered cars of Rick Mears, Mario Andretti, and Al Unser have taken turns either winning or breaking down, Rahal has quietly moved into second place in the season points race. Now, Bobby started from the 4th position today in the Michigan 500, and it was a Chevy power car that dominated. Danny Sullivan took the lead early, and he never looked back. But 20 of the starting field of 28 cars dropped out with mechanical failure. Rahal kept plodding right along. Bobby was a lap down at the finish as Sullivan cruised to the checkered flag, but Rahal finished second. That moves him from 4th to 2nd in the season points race, just 17 points behind Sullivan. All right, a big weekend of motorcycle racing up at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. This is the Superbike Camel Challenge, a 5-lap, 12-mile sprint for the 750cc bikes. Bubba Schobert jumped out to the early lead, and on the 2nd lap, Doug Poland passes Doug Chandler on the straightaway, moving to 2nd place. Now, Schobert's engine gave way on lap 3, and Poland goes on to win it, complete with a little wheelie at the finish line. Poland takes home the first-place prize of $10,000. Then Doug climbed off the victory stand and went out to compete in the Super Sport 600 race as well. 32 bikes started the 33-mile race. Looks like Route 315 at rush hour. But at the finish, it was Poland all by his lonesome. Doug Poland wins 2 races in 1 day. Top speed 160 miles an hour on those bikes. Basketball fans got a sneak preview of the U.S. Olympic team this afternoon as the Olympians took on a team of NBA stars up in Providence, Rhode Island. The U.S. Olympic team coach, John Thompson of Georgetown, intently looking on. He had to like what he saw. Second half, All-American Danny Manning of Kansas with a great body control, switches hands, lays it in left-handed. Former Olympian Pat Ewing of the Knicks throws it down to the NBA stars, but former Pittsburgh Panther Charles Smith skies for the follow-up dunk, and the Olympians beat the NBA stars 90-82. Last Wednesday, America's #2 ranked Olympic diver Bruce Kimball was charged with 2 counts of vehicular homicide after Kimball smashed his car into a group of teenagers gathered on a dead-end street near Tampa Tuesday night. 2 teenage boys were killed. Today, the Tampa Tribune reports that Kimball's blood alcohol level was twice the legal limit when he was tested after the accident. On the diamond today, the Reds scored 4 in the 6th to beat the Padres down at Riverfront. 4-3, the final score. Tom Browning runs his record to 11-4. Now, the Astros beat the Dodgers, so Houston's just 2.5 games back. San Francisco wallops Atlanta. The Expos win number 13 in their last 16 games. The Mets over the Bucks. David Cohn runs his record to 12-2. Philadelphia beats Chicago. Over in the American League, Mike Greenwell's double starts a 3-run rally in the 10th as the Bo Sox cut the Tigers' lead to 3 in the AL East. The Yankees are also 3 games back. Kansas City over Toronto. Milwaukee beats Baltimore, California, and Chicago all tied up in the 5th. The Mariners clobbering Oakland in the 5th. Cleveland in Texas tonight, 8:35 start. International League, the Clippers and the Paw Sox scoreless. They're in the 1st. Golf this afternoon, final round play in the U.S. Seniors Open up in Chicago. Bob Charles and Gary Player are headed into sudden death, tied after regulation at even par. And on the PGA Tour, Jody Mudd, who finished second 6 times, finally got his first career win today. Mudd with the birdie on the 10th hole at the St. Jude Classic, and at number 11 from 40 feet. Mudd rolls in another birdie. Jody Mudd wins the St. Jude Classic by 1 stroke. He takes home $171,000. Not bad for a day's work. In tennis, top seed Boris Becker beats John McEnroe in straight sets in the finals of the U.S. Hardcourt Championships out in Indianapolis. The score is 6-4 and 6-2, which is one of the final tune-ups for the U.S. Open later this month.
Coming up. You know, I should tell you, I'm a Pirates fan. I'm from Pittsburgh. Ben Gelber is a Mets fan, and we've had this rivalry going. I'm a little bit tired of the Mets winning all these games.
The Mets, I believe, have taken 7 of the last 8.
Every time they meet face-to-face, the Pirates just can't do it. Well, what if you held a party and the guest of honor didn't show up? It's happening this weekend in Phelps, New York. That story next.
I've been looking all over for this terrific video cassette I heard about. It's called The All-New Not-So-Great Moments in Sports. There's scenes where Daryl Dawkins renovates NBA backboards.
That's a fantastic video. My favorite part is when Billie Jean King turns Bobby Riggs into tennis's court jester.
I hear there's a scene where a West German golfer shoots for birdie from a pretty strange place.
I love it where George Brett calmly disputes his pine tar home run. The all-new Not-So-Great Moments in Sports is 45 minutes of the funniest film I've ever seen.
Great, so you have it.
No store has this version.
Now what do I do?
You get it free.
Let me understand. You don't have the video, but you're going to tell me how to get it free.
Right.
Am I missing something?
You're missing out on Sports Illustrated.
Sports Illustrated? I love SI. What does Sports Illustrated have to do with it?
You get the all-new Not-So-Great Moments in Sports free with your paid subscription.
Oh, I let my subscription run out.
Well, now's a perfect time to go for it again. You get 25 weeks of America's best sports coverage, including the Pro Football Preview and the beautiful swimsuit issue.
I love that.
You even get the big Summer Olympics special issue and the commemorative Olympic pin set.
And the all-new Not-So-Great Moments in Sports?
You get it all.
I do. How?
Just call Sports Illustrated's toll-free number.
Hold on. All that great footage, that video's really worth having.
I ought to know.
Yeah, I'll bet they raised the price of the magazine, right?
It's over 47% off the cover price. Just 3 monthly installments of $9.89 each. You can even put it on a credit card.
No kidding. I get 25 weeks of SI, including the Pro Football Preview, the Summer Olympic special issue, Olympic pin set, the swimsuit issue, and the video cassette free.
You get it all. Just call 1-800-284-8800.
I gotta get to a phone. What's that number again?
Here, 1-800-284-8800.
Hi, have you heard of a video cassette called The All-New Not-So-Great Moments in Sports?
Well, it's kind of like the State Fair with no cows or the Arts Festival with no paintings. In Phelps, New York, the annual Sauerkraut Festival is underway. Trouble is, there's no sauerkraut made in that town anymore. The village used to claim to be the sauerkraut capital of the world, but one of its 2 kraut plants closed and the other moved away this spring. But the 22nd annual Sauerkraut Festival is underway anyway. Organizers say, after all, a festival is a festival.
You're like a weather map without cold fronts.
Or the barometric pressure in Siberia. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you tonight at 11.
What?
One time he gave us the